Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I want to start with a big picture idea before we zoom into the details. Longevity matters to careers, to friendships, and to relationships in powerful industries like Hollywood. Some people admire it. Others quietly resent it. But what we rarely get to see is how longevity is maintained behind the scenes, and what it costs when power, image, and loyalty collide. That's why the ongoing legal dispute involving Blake Lively, Wayfarer Studios, and Justin Baldoni has become so revealing. To me, this lawsuit isn't just about one film or one conflict. It's a rare window into how Hollywood elites operate, how they use influence, and how entitlement can shape decision-making when the stakes are high. From PR strategy to legal maneuvering, this case has pulled back the curtain on how studios, publicists, and celebrity networks actually function. A major thread running through all of this is the friendship between Blake Lively and Taylor Swift. As more documents and text messages have been unsealed, that relationship has become central to understanding the broader PR battle that's been playing out for over a year. We're no longer guessing what was said privately, we're seeing it in real time, and it changes the narrative. According to the released messages, Taylor agreed to visit Blake's apartment, where Blake sent her a copy of the script in advance, making it clear she didn't need a full read, just enthusiasm. After the meeting, Blake followed up with highly flattering messages, replaying Taylor's praise and framing her as a powerful supporter. Taylor, for her part, responded positively and praised the script, which later became a key detail in how these interactions were characterized. What's important is what happened after those texts surfaced publicly. Until then, the public only knew Blake's version, particularly the now infamous dragon messages she sent to Justin Baldoni, implying that Taylor was one of her powerful protectors. Once those messages were unsealed, the media response shifted quickly, and Taylor's camp moved to distance her from that framing. Early coverage set the tone. On February 6, TMZ ran a headline suggesting tension between Taylor Swift and Blake Lively, reporting that Taylor felt used and uncomfortable being described as a dragon. Sources claimed Taylor had no idea she was walking into a meeting, believed her presence was coincidental, and felt blindsided by how her name was leveraged. The framing was clear: Taylor was positioned as an unwilling participant. Similar language appeared in follow-up reporting, including a Daily Mail article that emphasized Taylor taking a step back from the friendship to protect her image. The repeated messaging described the dragon language as unnecessary, inappropriate, and damaging, suggesting Taylor had been pulled into a situation she never agreed to join. But here's where the story becomes complicated. The unsealed messages show Taylor engaging with the language enthusiastically, at least privately. That creates a stark contrast between what was said behind the scenes and what was communicated through PR channels afterward. It raises serious questions about who knew what, when they knew it, and how much of the public narrative was strategic repositioning. This is where the discussion moves beyond friendship drama and into power dynamics. Both Blake Lively and Taylor Swift entered the industry with significant access and opportunity through family connections, wealth, or established networks. That doesn't negate their talent, but it does shape how they experience conflict, accountability, and risk. When you grow up in environments where doors open easily, it can create a sense that problems will always be managed for you. As the PR responses escalated into the summer, Taylor's representatives reportedly doubled down, telling outlets she felt deeply hurt and furious about being portrayed as a weapon or protector. Statements claimed she would never see herself in that role and that any suggestion otherwise was false. Yet again, this directly conflicts with the tone of the private texts we can now read for ourselves. The contradictions don't stop there. Another major issue exposed by the lawsuit involves casting decisions, specifically the claim that Taylor had input on casting the role of young Lily. The evidence shows that Taylor had no involvement in that process. The voice memo cited in filings was sent only to Blake, and casting decisions were already in motion months before Taylor ever met Justin Baldoni. Text records further support that Blake handled those discussions independently. So, could Taylor feel misled by Blake? Possibly. Could Blake have exaggerated Taylor's involvement to gain leverage or credibility? The evidence strongly suggests that. But at the same time, Taylor's enthusiastic participation, at least early on, makes it difficult to fully accept the narrative that she was merely an innocent bystander. What emerges is a pattern of selective truth-telling, image protection, and shifting alliances. As legal pressure increased, relationships fractured. Allegedly, disputes followed, texts were scrutinized, and lines were drawn. Taylor ultimately stayed silent publicly, which some sources attribute to her belief that she was never told key allegations, particularly claims of sexual harassment. If true, that would fundamentally alter how she interpreted the situation. At this point, the biggest question isn't who looks worse, it's what, if anything, can be believed. Between conflicting PR statements, private messages, and legal filings, the unsealed evidence shows that the public story was, at best, incomplete. Whether Taylor was misled, complicit, or somewhere in between, the record makes one thing clear: the version sold to the public doesn't match what happened behind closed doors. And that brings us to the final issue worth sitting with. Is this the kind of advocacy or feminism that actually helps anyone? Or is it just another example of power being exercised through influence, connections, and strategic silence? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments, give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and subscribe so you don't miss future updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.